there is no escaping it. 250,000 of us will die this year, and with the average cost of a funeral at just under $4,500, it's no wonder that price competition in this industry is heating up. Internet-based funeral services promise to save people thousands. How does that affect the traditional operators? Dominic Mazzone is chairman of Basic Funerals and Cremation Choices. Jim Cardinal, president of Cardinal Funeral Homes and also a member of the Funeral Service Association of Canada. Thanks to both of you for being here.
Thank you so much for having us.
Dominic, your ads caught our eye, Basic Funerals. We know that this is an industry that can be seen to have very high costs associated. There's whole ad campaigns around ensuring so that you can afford your funeral. What's the pitch from you? What is Basic Funerals? Well,
Basic Funerals is what we feel is the first funeral company to bring the funeral establishment to the internet. We are actually empowering the consumer with the internet through complete price disclosure, disclosing our services, and really allowing families to arrange services they want, either online, over the phone, or in person, or they can use our real-time chat, which is we're the first in Canada to launch real-time chat. But while we're doing that, we also provide services that are half the price usually of traditional funeral homes.
So Dominic, you're in the traditional funeral home business. I've always loved this business. People are dying to get in. Everybody's going to bite it. We know that. And you provide a traditional service. Are you concerned that an internet company can undercut the margin-enhancing business of a family in grief?
No, not really. The prices that they offer are very similar to ours. There's really not a huge savings. They talk about the $1,800 versus the $5,000 or $10,000 funeral. We can offer funerals for $18,000 or $1,800 to whatever you want. So we don't see it as a huge threat to our business at all, because we've been offering prices for funerals from very basic to more elaborate for as long as we've been around.
Dominic, can I go into Cardinal Funeral Homes in your view and get as inexpensive a service as I could get from you or another very low-cost provider?
Sure. I think it's important to understand. I'm not quite sure what services that Jim is comparing. For a basic cremation, meaning just a cremation service with nothing more, no service, you just want a basic cremation, Jim's price is around $2,800 before tax. So I kind of don't quite really know. I understand. Our price is $1,685, all taxes included. Okay. So
I want to know what the lowest cost of dying is. I mean, what's the package where they throw you in a wood chipper and just put it in a garbage bag in the ground? I mean, how low can you go?
Well, I think it's important to understand that $1,685 is as low as you can go and have it still be extremely dignified. We provide the most professional service in the province. We just happen to have a very low-cost model that basically allows us to pass that savings on to the consumer.
Jim, is there any concern from the point of view of the association? I know you run a business, you're a businessman, but you're also part of the association. Is there a concern about kind of unregulated parts of this business, about operators getting in that might do things in a way that end up not being to code or legal or any of that? Is that sort of part of the issue?
No, he's a licensed fuel establishment the same as I am. So we're all licensed and we all play with the same rules. What it is that sort of upsets the associations and funeral directors like myself is the misinformation, the fear-mongering. Gentlemen like him who say the big bad undertakers are taking advantage of orphans and widows, and that's just not true at all. I mean, we've been in business for over 3 generations, established in 1925. You don't stay in business for that long if you're taking advantage of your client families.
Gentlemen, can I ask you about a change in the business model occurring now? I was recently through this experience in my own family, and I noticed that the cemetery that I was going to bury my loved one in was also offering a new funeral home service, an all-in-one, all-inclusive package in my moment of grief. Is that a new trend?
Yeah, that's something that started with some of the cemeteries in Toronto and other parts of Ontario. They were offering a visitation package with the service at the cemetery. It's not dealing with the funeral home. They do have a license. They're sort of actually playing with the way the law is set up.
Dominic, in terms of who you're trying to appeal to, do you want the same customer that Jim would be looking for, or do you feel like they're very different client bases?
Listen, Jim's Funeral Home has been around for many years. He's going to have families that come in and feel very comfortable in that process. There is a growing number of Canadians that realize that funeral services can be had for a price that's very affordable. I'd just like to correct something, though. I think it's important when Jim was speaking about misinformation and you know, fear-mongering. I think it's important to understand that it's very hard to give misinformation when you're actually giving all the information. Basic Funerals, if you go to basicfunerals.ca, you can go on there and actually find prices. You can build a quote. You can do these things. There's very few funeral homes that do that. So it's not fear-mongering, it's just disclosure.
Why is the cost of cremation so much more at a full-service funeral home than it is at Basic Funerals?
You got to compare apples to apples here, and throwing numbers out, it's very difficult to say, but you know, the numbers really aren't that far off. You know, we have 3 buildings. I have a staff of 30 people. We have a fleet of cars.
Right.
There's obviously an overhead cost there, which he doesn't have.
Yeah.
Quick question, which are people choosing more now, just generically? Burning, cremation, or burying? Which one's more popular currently?
I can answer that question if that's okay.
Well, let's hear from both of you.
Sure. I mean, cremation is at 65% and growing in Canada. When you go out to the West Coast, it's almost up to 90% in the Vancouver area. So cremation is becoming more popular because it's more inexpensive. And, you know, let's face it, real estate's expensive and plots are not getting cheaper.
Jim, has that been your experience?
Yeah, well, cremation is, in Ontario, it's about 50%. There's a lot of different costs involved. You can go to rural Ontario and cremation is actually more expensive than burial. It really depends on where you live.
All right. Thanks to both of you for being here. It's fascinating.
Thank you so much.
Something we all have to think about eventually. Dominic Mazzone, Chairman of Basic Funerals and Cremation Choices. Jim Cardinal, operator of Cardinal Funeral Homes. Stay with us. We're back after this.